Welcome. We are going to talk about planning in times of change today. And as individuals join me, hopefully they'll pop in and they'll share some information in the chat. But let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to share my screen real quick and we're going to go right into the presentation today. Today is Brown Bag Break today, and I am hoping that you've decided to take about this 25 to 30 minutes of break for you today. So let me share my screen and we'll get right at it. So we're going to talk about planning in times of change. And I feel that we probably have not been had enough change in 2020. Ha ha ha, right? We have definitely had a lot of change. And why do we need to talk about planning for the next year when we've got still this constant change going on? Well, it's very important to do that. So my name is Jenn. I am your host. I'm a social and emotional intelligence certified coach. And I always say that the best thing on this slide is that I'm an awesome aunt, because it is about the relationships that we have that make our lives more valuable and worth living. It's that, best case scenario that if we have good relationships, our life will be well lived. So let's talk about planning in times of change. So, how do we plan and how do we get unstuck? And why do some seem to have it all figured out and didn't seem to miss a beat in 2020? These were three questions that I really wanted to answer in today's session. So, hopefully, I will be able to do that for you. The first thing I want to say, I believe that we need to have a clean slate mindset. And I think that that's the first element that we need in order to truly get started and plan, even in times of change. Because if we are still focusing on the things that went wrong in 2020, because we know we have a list of those, then we're not going to be able to move forward. So we have to think about what could go right. And last month, in some of my social media posts, I shared that quote from Tony Robbins, that it's about basically getting excited about what could go right. And that is the important element here, is that we do need to get excited about the possibilities and still believe that there are possibilities and opportunities, even when we have all this change still going on and some uncertainties. So, this is another reminder that I'm going to share this quote by Zig Ziglar: regardless of your past, your tomorrow is a clean slate. And we have to really look at this next year with a clean slate, because if we bring in all that baggage or all the sadness or all the pain from 2020, we're not going to be able to look at the new year as one that is filled with opportunities, that does have possibilities attached to it. So we do need to kind of, get that eraser, get that whatever we have to do to, if it's, we're thinking about a whiteboard, get that spray out and wipe that down and really start with that clean slate, because that's where the possibilities and the opportunities exist. And you can change your mindset about what is going to happen next year if you choose to let go of some things. So, my first question for you is, what do you need to let go of to have a clean slate? We're going to hang on to things naturally because, that's just who we are as humans. It's hard to let go of everything, but there may be something that's really weighing you down. So, what is weighing you down? What are some things that you might need to let go of? So, I wrote a list of some things that I think I need to let go of. Maybe some obligations, not only from a time or financial standpoint, but what are some of those obligations that maybe we need to let go of to have a clean slate for 2021? Our thoughts, right? The things that are up here plaguing us that may keep us in a stuck mode, those are some of the things we maybe need to let go of. Maybe we need to let go of some fears. There's fears, of course, that are surrounded by, from a resource standpoint in the time that we're in. But maybe that fear, or that from maybe a scarcity standpoint, is what you need to let go of. So then that way you can have that clean slate in 2021. And maybe lastly, there's some people you need to let go of. And I'm not saying like abandon your family or your friends or cancel out on important relationships. What I'm saying is maybe you have someone that's in your sphere that's been kind of holding you back, that has been that weight on the balloon that's kept you from seeing the possibilities or the opportunities that might be available to you. So think about that from a weight standpoint. So who are those? There's that saying that you are the average of the five people that you spend the most time of. Your income, what you do, how you behave is a result or reflects those five people that are most influential in your life. So maybe there is someone that is possibly maybe needs to take more of a back burner and not be in that close knit circle of people that influences you and your behavior. So think about this. What do you need to let go of to have a clean slate in 2021? So then let's move on to the second element, and that is evaluated experience. And this is why I want you to focus on the word evaluated. We've had a ton of new experiences in 2020. So, how do we take that knowledge and let it help us as we plan for the next year? So, some of the things that I know that you may have experienced in 2020 is this: we've never seen states shut down, we've never seen government shut down, right? We've never seen entities force, outside of our own control, force us to shut our doors if we're businesses. We've possibly been very knowledgeable now on how to homeschool children. Might not have been very joy filled, but you definitely maybe learned something new in that regards. We've learned how to go virtual only for so many different things. What have we experienced in 2020? We might have experienced lost business. We might have experienced lost loved ones. And that's a reality of 2020. That's not, there's not a person I know that hasn't been untouched in regards to the impact of COVID, whether it is someone close to you or someone that you just know from Facebook friends or other places that their life has been dramatically impacted by COVID-19. What have we also learned? We have learned how to find new audiences, possibly. We've learned creative ways to connect or reconnect. How many of you have found that this environment that we've been in has created some little old school behavior? Maybe you've been writing some letters. Maybe you've been doing something really much more um, personal in regards to how you've connected with others. Maybe you have found creative ways to take in something you used to do in person, virtually. Maybe you have found a side hustle or an extra gig to be able to help with resources that you might need, such as financial resources. So these are some experiences that we've had in 2020. But what do we need to do? We need to evaluate it. And I love this quote from John C. Maxwell. And what he does is he reminds us that experiences alone are not our best teacher. It's how we evaluate that experience that is our best teacher. So evaluated experience is the best teacher. So if we don't do anything to review 2020, we're not going to essentially be able to take that experience and turn it into knowledge. And that's what I encourage you to do, is take that experience and turn it into knowledge. So what are some of the things we might need to think about? What's the knowledge did you gain? What's that knowledge you gained from 2020 experiences? Maybe you learned how to juggle a little bit better. Maybe you've learned some new time management strategies that you did not have before this year. Um, and maybe you learned what your true priorities are. Maybe forced to assess who you spend time with, how you spend your time. Maybe it's made you realize what your priorities are. And maybe you found a lot of creative new ways to do business. So, this is what I want you to think about. When the pandemic began, we had no idea how to do any of those things. And we have great knowledge now in regards to how to function in a pandemic. And we know that it's not going to end. As of January 1, it's not going to end. We don't know when this situation we're in is going to officially end. We know that a vaccine is long coming. We know that there may be more surges in cases where we may need to be shut down again, but how can we take the knowledge that we gained from 2020 and really evaluate that and make that into how we make 2021 better? That's what I'm encouraging you to do. And we know that nothing is guaranteed. Nothing was guaranteed in 2020. Nothing is guaranteed in 2021, but we can learn from what we've experienced. So, definitely learning from our experience is key at this time. So, what's the third thing that I have? And I know this may be a shorter brown bag break, but I think what we need to focus on for this conversation today is these three elements. If we can just spend some real energy around getting our clean slate mindset set up, understanding that if we evaluate our experiences, we will have knowledge that maybe we didn't even understand that we had. And then we can make some really good informed decisions based on that knowledge. And the third one is consistency. The third element that I believe has helped some thrive during this time is a great level of consistency after they have figured out what works. So this past year, 2020, what did you do consistently? Did it support or help you reach your goals, or did it work against them? So, was the thing you found yourself doing consistently maybe vegging out on the Netflix, or were you consistently doing things that moved your business or what your goal moved you towards your goals? Whatever those might have been, whether it was a physical fitness goal or if it was just a goal in regards to growing your personal growth. Maybe it was a goal in regards to your business. What are some of the things that you maybe did or figured out and did consistently that helped you in 2020? So, the things that I was thinking about that I want to make sure that I apply some more consistency around are things that I enjoy, things that make progress in my life. So if helps me make progress towards those goals, and it's easily repeatable. It's hard to do something consistently if it's difficult, if it's hard, because then we have to get ourselves motivated to do it time and time again. And that's where that enjoyment factor comes in. But of course, if we do something consistently, we've got to make sure that it is moving us forward in regards to our goals. So, this is a great reminder here that consistent action in those things that move us forward will result with consistent results. Because if we are consistent, meaning we do them on the regular basis, not just haphazard or sporadically doing things. And you can think of this from we know about social media. We know that if you're inconsistent with your social media, what happens? People don't see you in their feed. They don't get informed about what you're doing. So this is an area clearly I need to work on. I know that, but it's just one of those things that it's like if we don't consistently post, if we don't consistently show up, we're not going to have the results of, potentially new clients finding us. So that is what we need to do from a social media standpoint, maybe. Well, what do we do with our whole life? What consistent action do you need to have consistent results? And this could be something simple, like you have the consistent action of, and I was trying to come up with some different arenas. Like if you're at home, what are some things that you know that kind of go chaos, right? That is just like all over the place. You find that sense of overwhelm. Maybe that's not knowing what you're going to have for dinner that night. Maybe you can apply some consistent action to that. Maybe there's some meal prep routine that you can create that's going to create a consistent result in regards to everybody knowing what they're going to have for dinner that night, everybody knowing what to expect. It kind of decreases that overwhelm. What are some other things you could do in your home life that could create some consistent results? Well, maybe if you have a community calendar where everyone knows what the other family members are doing. Maybe that would help, whether it's something on the wall or it's electronic, however you would do that, create maybe that community calendar. In the business, that outreach, that prospecting, maybe that's what your consistent action needs to be. Maybe you need to block out some time so that you can consistently receive results in that arena. We talked about marketing and social media. Maybe there's some consistent action in regards to setting aside, whether it's a Sunday night, couple hours, or whenever you set up your week for success. Those 2 hours of planning could be very vital to produce consistent results. That prep time, whether it's prepping for meals at home or prepping for who you need to call in your business, all very vital pieces of consistent action. So, what are the areas that you're feeling overwhelmed in? Those are the areas that you're going to need to find some consistent action in so that you can have some consistent results. I love this quote by Marie Forleo. She says, success doesn't come from what you do occasionally, it comes from what you do consistently. So if you're striving or really hungry for success, whether it's in a personal life capacity or in your business life, what is it that you need to do more consistently? So that is my final question for you. What's your first consistent action that you can take? And this is something that you can maybe implement in the next day, today, in the next 24 hours. What's something that you can start doing consistently that produces some consistent action? And again, this is something that if you apply my rules, that it's repeatable, it moves you forward, and it's something you do enjoy. I admitted recently to a group, I decided to take the word blog off my header on my website. Why did I do that? I wasn't blogging. So it didn't bring me any joy every time I would put down that I needed to write a blog. Well, I do video more. So that's what I need to do. I need to replace some of those things that I didn't enjoy with the things that I do. And then I'll find myself more motivated to complete those actions as well. So let's think about what's next for GenQuest. So I'm curious as to what's next for you in 2021, but I want to tell you what's next for GenQuest, my business. Well, everything that is next, you can find it on my website at jenquest.com/events or / whatever that is, events. That is where you're going to find everything I have going on, whether it is events or offers. You're going to find that on that website. First, I am doing an encore of my Work It workshop, which is that workshop that you can use to get your time management, your financial, and your marketing plans kicked off. I've got some great tips and tools, and we are truly working during this time frame. So we have 11:30 to 3:30, and we are working it. And I have a special guest, Nina Bambina. Her business is Energy for Serenity, and she is sharing her skill, her gift, and helping us kind of clean out some of that mental clutter at the beginning and get our energy right for a true productive workshop time period. Then we'll have an hour spent on time management, an hour spent on financial, and an hour spent on marketing, where the first 15 minutes is me teaching you, guiding you, helping you with tools and tips. And then the last bit, that 45 minutes each hour, is what? It's about you doing the work to move you forward. And it is only $27, and you will be available. Recordings will be available as well. The women's conference that is sponsored by the Junior League did get rescheduled to January 21st. I am very hopeful that we will still be able to do that. I am leading a session called Leading Ourselves and Others in Times of Change, and my session will start at 2:15 p.m. that day. And this is a wonderful reason to join it. Not only do you get conference and a luncheon for $75 plus a little bit of an Eventbrite fee, you get a keynote, you get 4 learning sessions. Would love to, of course, have you join me. And the money you're spending is going towards a wonderful cause in regards to supporting the missions of the Junior League, which is really focused on food insecurity and women's empowerment. And the next brown bag break is going to be Thursday, December 17th. So look for announcements. I will be doing some changes as 2021 comes in. A lot of what I've been doing lately is thinking about what I want to do more of, what I want to do differently in 2021. And I'm sure that that's some of what you're doing as well. So thank you so much for catching this on replay, joining me live. I do very much appreciate everyone who registers and catches the brown bag break, whether you're getting this in my newsletter or if you are getting it from the Intentional Growth Club Facebook community. I very much appreciate. It would not be a good November if I don't say a big thank you in more ways than one to my community for everything you do to support me. I am forever grateful for your support. Thank you so much. And it's now time for open discussion. You all have a wonderful rest of your day.